10 fragrances that I will never stop recommending, part 2. Of course, you've seen this video floating around. It was a tag video started by George over at The Fragrance Apprentice. I thought it was a really cool idea, so I hopped in and gave my own take on it. That was about a month or so ago, and like I said in that video, if you guys like it and you want to see more, I'll do a follow-up video, and that's what we're going to be covering today. Same video idea, 10 fragrances I will never stop recommending to you. We just have a whole new group of scents here that I'm going to be sharing with you. And I will provide links to all of these down below like usual, so you can grab these at a nice discount if you're interested in any of them. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go and jump right into it. First fragrance up, we have Stronger With You Intensely by Emporio Armani. Love the nice dark color of this stuff. It looks delicious, it looks awesome, and the scent itself lives up to that as well. This one has this nice kind of roasted chestnuts, a warm, slightly gourmand type of facet about it. So it's a primarily warm, spicy, sweet fragrance with a little bit of a bubblegummy touch. Not too much, you know, it's not something like an Invictus, but it goes in that direction the slightest bit. And that is what gives it a bit of a youthful and playful type of feel. And that right there is what will usually put people off about this one. You might like the roasted vanilla chestnuts type of smell. You might like the fact that it almost reminds you of sitting by like a fireplace or a wood-burning stove in the cooler winter months, but there's just that little bit of a bubblegummy edge to it that may kind of turn you off about the scent. That's kind of what I've heard a lot of people say, and I would agree with 100%. But for me, I can get past that. I'm not the hugest fan of a bunch of bubblegumminess and fragrances. I'm just not really into that style much anymore like I was in the beginning, but there's not too much of that. There's some other accords and there's some things going on in this one that makes it interesting to me, to where I find myself reaching for it and wearing it quite often. It's one that I think is a great bang for your buck scent. It is on the more expensive side, but what you get in return is pretty solid, something that is relatively unique while still being mass appealing, something that has great performance, and something that's just very versatile to wear in the wintertime that is Stronger With You Intensely. Moving up next, we have L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. This is a timeless masterpiece. It's a Guerlain fragrance, so you know it's going to have prestigious high quality, and it lives up to that 100%, just like a lot of the fragrances from the brand do. This one is one that blew my mind the first time I smelled it. Immediately, I understood what the hype and what all the praise was about, because as you guys know, when it comes to fragrances, a lot of times going into it, you can see a fragrance that's getting a lot of hype, one that is very well regarded in the community, and there may be somewhere you go ahead and smell it and you're not that impressed. You're like, yeah, that's all right. But this one, going into it, I was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be for me, but when I smelled it, I was blown away. This one's got patchouli, cacao, sandalwood, a little bit of a fresh citrus up top, but it's primarily warm, spicy, woody, kind of sweet. There's a little bit of like kind of powderiness to it, and just overall a very masculine, commanding fragrance. One that is timeless, one that a gentleman could wear and pull off for anything. This could be a great signature scent. One that I think is awesome. Even in today's time, in 2021, this is still worth at least trying, if not 100% owning. You can get these on discounters for, I believe, around $50, which is a really nice price for a great, great fragrance. That is L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. Following that, we have a fragrance that you've probably heard of pretty often here on the channel. This is one that I've really been enjoying here as it's been very cold. We've been in single digits the past week, week and a half. Been getting quite a bit of snow, so in times like this, you need something strong and pretty sweet to really cut through the cold, brisk air. This one is Ferragamo Uomo Signature. So, in my opinion, the best flanker from the line. There's also Casual Life and Urban Feel, and of course this one. So there's 3 flankers total, not including the original, of course. And I think this is the best flanker. And I think the original is also really solid, but if you want something that has a little bit more of a refined, slightly more masculine edge to it, then Signature is the way to go. This one introduces some coffee, a little bit of leather. That leather gives it that nice masculine touch. The coffee just gives it somewhat of a gourmand touch, just like in the original, very sweet, and just kind of spices it up a little bit. Gives a nice twist on the DNA. Great, great stuff. It's affordable on discounters, and it has fantastic performance. One that I think you just have to have. Ferragamo Uomo Signature. Up next, we have YSL Y Eau de Parfum. So what hasn't been said about this fragrance? I don't think I can come up with anything. I really don't. So I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about this one. What I will say is it is in the blue fragrance category, being ultra versatile, great compliment getter, and at the same time it has great performance, and it's just a great purchase. A little bit more pricey like I've talked about with some others, but that price is worth it. When you invest in something that is good, at least in my opinion, this is a good investment, it will pay back in return. You will get so many chances to wear this one. It will pull you great compliments. It'll last throughout the whole day. Not much you have to worry about with Yves Saint Laurent Y Eau de Parfum. Did I go through that one quick enough? I feel like every time I say that I'm not going to go on about a fragrance, I end up going on about it longer than usual. Following along, we have Dior Homme Intense. Now this one here is one that I could go on and on about for a long time because this is one of my favorites, but again, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try to run through it quick here. Powdery iris, bit of a chocolate touch, a little bit of a spiciness in here. Smells amazing. I still remember the first time I smelled this one. It was from a sample, and I was just blown away because going into it, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be for me because I was just starting out with my fragrance collecting hobby. I was all into the freshies and the aquatics, and the thought of a lipsticky, sweet, makeup bag smelling iris fragrance, that was the furthest thing that I wanted to try. But this one, I'm so glad I did. Fell in love with it immediately. I had to get myself a bottle. I have multiple bottles of this one now. I'm backed up and I'm good to go forever, really. Just great fragrance here. It's sexy, it's alluring, it's great for an evening out, great for a date. It's great for smelling high-end and sophisticated. It's Dior Homme Intense. You've heard so much about it. This is one that I will never stop recommending. Let's keep it moving here. Next we have Male Le Parfum. This is a fragrance that really blew my mind. Again, going into it, we have quite a few flankers at this point of these Le Male fragrances. I'm sure you guys are aware. There are tons and tons of flankers with all the limited editions, the summer ones, whatever. And like I've talked about before, it can get to a point where it's ridiculous because you don't know where to start. If you're new to the line, you don't know if you want to start with the original Le Male, if you want to go into one of the flankers, it can be overwhelming. I would say that this one is really right up next to Ultra Male for me in terms of my favorite flankers from the line. Ultra Male is still going to take the cake, mostly just because nostalgia reasons, but in terms of just scent itself, I mean, Le Parfum is a work of art. I really do think that they took this DNA and this fragrance line and they killed it with this one. It has a little bit of an Ultra Male smell in the base of this one, but what you get primarily is a bit more of like a cardamom spiciness, a bit more of an oriental feel from this one. So it's a bit more spicy, oriental, a little bit of vanilla like you would get from Ultra Male. So you get that sweetness and a bit more of a spicy kick is really the best way to describe this one. And also a little bit of a minty fresh lavender in the opening, reminiscent of the original Le Male. So it kind of hits a few different things all at once. It ties back to the OG of the OGs, the original Le Male, and it also ties in a little bit of Ultra Male, which is, their most successful flanker from the line by far. That's what you get from Le Parfum. Awesome stuff. Can't say enough good things about this one. Worth a try and worth owning every bit. So let's go ahead and move into a cheapie. I believe you can pick this one up for around $30. You can grab a tester like this bottle, save even more money, and still have a cap as well. This one is Halloween Man X. So tester sticker right there, which is always nice. You can grab this one. I believe a tester anywhere from, I don't know, $22, $25 maybe. I think I've seen it down that low before. This one has been getting hyped. It's been talked about for a while, so I think prices have crept up a little bit compared to when I got it. But still, it's in the cheapie category for sure. $30, you can get this one pretty much, and it's worth $30. $35, it's probably even worth that as well. If you were looking at this at about $50, $60, I would say probably not. But at the price point it's at now, it's super competitive and it's a great pickup. It's nice, entry-level, affordable coffee fragrance. Now, it's not the most high-quality coffee fragrance out there, but it does do a really good job at giving you this nice, slightly spicy coffee note, or accord, I should say, giving it a bit of that gourmand feel, and then just a lot of sweetness on top of that. Again, the sweetness gives it a bit of a youthful, playful, juvenile type of smell, which some people aren't going to like, especially in a men's fragrance. But if you're into the sweeter things and you like them for winter time, this is awesome. And for the price of, around $30, give or take, you can't beat it. Great performance as well. Moving along, we have Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Another one that I just love, and this one kind of smells a little bit like Dior Homme Intense, which we talked about a minute ago, of course. And you're probably wondering, well, okay, why do you have this fragrance in here if you also have Dior Homme Intense? Isn't that kind of redundant? And to that, I say, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's redundant. The reason why is because Dior Homme Intense, like I've talked about, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. It's going to be harder to pull that one off. You really have to be into it. You really have to be feeling yourself to be going out in public and applying that one heavily enough to get noticed. You don't have to go too strong with it, but if you do one spray and you're super timid about it and no one smells it, that's one thing. But to really apply it and to go out and meet with people and talk with people and they're going to be smelling it, you have to be sure of yourself and you have to be sure of the fragrance. Not everyone's going to be sure of Dior Homme Intense, but with the Givenchy, you will be sure of this one because this one has a little bit more vanilla. You still get the iris, but the vanilla comes through, just warming it up, sweetening it up a little bit, and just giving it a bit more mass appeal. Still a little bit of a spicy kick in here, but it's very creamy, sweet. It smells awesome. One of my favorites from the line, very wearable, about $50, solid performance too, and just a really nice one. If you want something that's going to be a bit more mass appealing than the Dior and something that's cheaper as well, this one right here is a really nice pickup. Second to last fragrance, we have Hugo Boss Bottled Oud. Really one of my favorite flankers out of the ones I've tried anyway, and of course the ones that I own. I think this one is really, really good. And in a lot of ways, I like this one better than Boss Bottled Intense, which is an OG, one that you hear talked about all the time, or at least at one point. And really, I don't hear too much about Boss Bottled Oud, but I think it's awesome. The apple comes through, nice sweet candied apple. The oud in this one is not strong. It's very subdued. It's a very light, fresh oud, and really it just gives a nice woodiness to the base of this one. Whereas, you know, in Boss Bottled Intense, it's all about that apple pie, kind of creamy, sweet, almost dessert type of smell. This one just adds, you know, a bit more of a woodiness, a bit more of a kind of darker quality to it. But it does smell really, really good, especially for the price. Again, this is an affordable one. And also, don't let oud scare you off. It is not a strong oud. It is nothing that's going to be too overpowering. This is still one that will garner you compliments and still one that a lot of you guys would really enjoy. And last but not least, we have 1 Million Prive by Paco Rabanne. This stuff is just a killer fragrance and really the best flanker from the 1 Million line. This one is all about the cinnamon spiciness with a bit of a sweet caramelized apples type of smell. I've talked about this before, but it literally smells like the epitome of fall. It smells like you're stepping into an apple orchard in the fall time. You got, you know, apple ciders and apple cider donuts and apple fritters and apples galore, right? I said apples about 10 times now. It's getting a little bit weird, a little bit strange for sure. But that fruit that I just said, you get a lot of that from this one. The cinnamon kind of alludes to those desserts and stuff that I was talking about. And of course, there's that spiciness in here as well. It's warm, it's inviting, it's alluring, and it's also really addicting. If you're into fragrances like this one, you'll find that when you smell this the first time, you're going to be hooked. You're going to be like, man, like, this is an incredible scent, and you wouldn't expect it from Paco Rabanne, and you wouldn't expect it from 1 Million either. It's a 1 Million flanker. I mean, 1 Million has been done to death. A lot of people will look at this and write it off, but you should not do that. You should grab a bottle of this one. If you're into fragrances like I described, you will love this one. Another one with great performance, great for the fall and winter time, 1 Million Prive. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That is 10 fragrances I will never stop recommending, part 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know a lot of you wanted to see it, so hopefully this lived up to the expectations. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.